This is Radio Prague International coming to you from the Czech capital.
Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of Czechia in 30 minutes. I'm Vít Pohanka. Some Czechs are deeply fascinated by America, its vast open spaces, its sense of freedom, and sometimes by something as uniquely American as Route 66, the legendary road stretching from Chicago to Los Angeles. One of them is Zdeněk Jurásek, traveler, writer and president of the Czech Route 66 Association. He first cycled the entire road back in 1998 and has returned to it again and again ever since. In our conversation, he talks about how his fascination with the United States began in his childhood, how he turned Route 66 into a lifelong project, and what keeps him going back to America's Mother Road. You are listening to the weekend edition of Czechia in 30 minutes from Radio Prague International. I'm Vít Pohanka, and here is our interview.
My name is Zdeněk Jurásek. They call me Zdeněk Jurásek. It is very complicated to pronounce my name. Zdeněk Jurásek. I am 63, and my passion is Route 66, and I am a president of the Czech Route 66 Association.
And let's just add that we are basically colleagues because you had a radio career and you still have a radio career, right?
Yes. I started as owner or boss of local radio in my hometown in the city of Zlín, Czech Republic, and now I am working only for Route 66.
Let's start from the beginning. You've said you were fascinated, I think, by atlases and maps when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Where did the kind of passion for Route 66 come from?
When I was a child, we had a small book at home. It was called Pocket Atlas of the World. It was full of maps and information and flags, and I used to read the book from cover to cover, and I like all the world, not only America. But my dad often listened to the Czech program of Voice of America, so from my childhood, I listened with him every evening, every night at 9 o'clock, news from the United States. I remember that in 1976, in America, celebrated 200 years of U.S. independence, and Voice of America had special programs about it. And I really enjoyed those. So that started my passion for United States. And as for Route 66, when I studied on high school, yes, we had to read Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath. I think it was the first time I heard about Route 66, and of course, as a fan of rock and roll music, I knew a single or song of Rolling Stones called "Get Your Kicks on Route 66." It was the first song of their first album. So I think not only for me, name of Route 66 is well known to all my generation.
Yeah, I think I was a similar case like you. I think I first read about Route 66 also from Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, actually. And it just reminds me of an interesting story just on the side. When Stalin had the film Grapes of Wrath shown in all the Soviet cinemas as a propaganda. And he wanted to show how terrible life is in the United States. But of course, I mean, all the viewers in the Soviet Union became kind of envious because they saw that even poor people in the United States can own a car. And they can travel wherever they want.
Everything. Yes.
So there was this romanticism. But I remember that I interviewed you because you actually traveled Route 66 in a kind of not traditional way, right?
Yes.
First time. What was that about?
It's a bit funny story because since I was about 30, I've been struggling with being overweight. That's why I decided to start riding a bicycle and plan long solo trips. And I decided to ride my bicycle across United States. Originally, I planned my trip from ocean to ocean. I don't remember, but from South Carolina to Los Angeles. And I think it was in October 1997, I found an article in National Geographic magazine concerning Arizona part of Route 66. And there was a lot of pictures, photographies and information. And I said, yeah, when I go across the United States, but I will go on old Route 66 because the name Route 66 was familiar to me. So my first trip on Route 66 was in 1998.
And so you flew to Chicago, I suppose, right?
Yes. And I started in Chicago, and during next 30 days I met whole Route 66 to Santa Monica Pier.
That's amazing. How, just for the listeners, how many miles is that, or how many kilometers?
It is, they say, 2,448 miles is average. It's about 4,000 kilometers.
About 4,000 kilometers, and you did that in 30 days, right?
Yes.
So you had to ride more than 100, and how many kilometers would you do on average?
About averages was 135 kilometers. Yeah, right. A day. So it was not a problem for me. I was afraid to get lost. Because it is not easy to navigate on Route 66.
I can imagine, because obviously the Route 66 was officially cancelled in 1986, if I remember correctly. And of course, many sections became new roads or did get new numbers and everything.
Yeah. There are different numbers.
Exactly.
But you have to know what is real Route 66.
So, when you rode, especially in parts of the southwest, I think you had to go on interstates, no? As well.
Yes, but it is not. It is necessary to go on interstates because in some parts of Route 66 interstate was built on Route 66. So it is Route 66, but a little bit different. And it is not forbidden to go on bicycle there, but you have to go in right part. On
the shoulder.
On the shoulder.
Yeah.
You have to go on the shoulder. And it is a little bit a problem because not for trucks, but for punctures.
Yeah, you get a flat tire.
Flat tires.
Quite often.
Because the shoulder is full of broken tires.
With wires, that are very sharp. Yeah.
No problem on original Route 66, but on interstate.
Did you, meet police, or did police sometimes stop you or something?
Not often.
Not often.
But sometimes, and they were very fine to me, and
they were curious, I suppose, rather than.
Yeah. But there is officially allowed to walk or on a
ride a
bicycle.
bike, yeah,
in
some of the southwestern states, in some portions. I mean, because obviously you cannot go on an interstate.
Because there is no other option.
Yeah, there's no other option. But you can't do that, for example, in New York State or somewhere like that, because, as I like to point out, I actually started my own journey across the United States. I do it in sections. So I rode a bike from New York via Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh. And actually, it was, most of the time I was fine. I mean, it was okay, even though I had to use some roads, in some places. But there are quite a few bike trails, I think you would call that. But that's not if you go on the Route 66.
Yeah, I must go on Route 66.
But that wasn't the only time I think you went along the Route 66, right? Because you did it again on a bike.
Yes, in 2016 I decided to try it once again. I followed the same itinerary, but I was 17 years older.
Right.
And during that time I became well known on Route 66. So when I was the other time in 2016, a lot of people on Route 66 wanted to see me on a bicycle because they know me as a tour leader and the man with passion for Route 66, but not like as a cyclist. So it was very, very crazy, and I had to stop in many places and make dinner and lunch with people, and it was very good because I was experienced, so I wasn't afraid to lose right way.
Right. You weren't afraid that you would lose your way, yeah?
Yeah,
because you already know that. Yeah. I read about you that you've actually traveled down the Route 66. I mean, not just by bike, but on a motorcycle and car as well.
Motorcycle. No. I'm not a biker, but with motorcyclists.
But with motorcyclists. Yeah. So you drive a car?
Yes, I drive a car. As a tour leader, I am in front of the group with my rented Ford Transit, and we are making these tours with about 20-24 people every year, twice a year.
Right. And that's what I read, that you did it like 33 times or something like that?
Last tour, this spring, was the 31st. But when I put together all trips, so my bicycle trip and personal trip with my wife, and so I made Route 66 40 times.
40 times.
Yeah.
And we are talking about doing it from Chicago all the way down to Santa Monica, or vice versa.
Or from Los Angeles to Chicago, because sometimes we go also this direction. It is the same.
Let me ask you, when you first came there in 1998, if I remember correctly, what was it like? I mean, was it something what you expected, or was it different?
It is more than I expected. I was happy to make a Route 66 and an all atmosphere and people. And I can make some comparison. My Route 66 bicycle trip was not only trip I made. I also went across Alaska or New Zealand on bicycle, and difference is on Route 66 I made photographies on maybe 13 films.
It's on rolls of films, yeah?
Rolls of films. I used maybe 13 rolls of films. When I was in Alaska, it was also great trip, but it was only 2 rolls because Route 66 is very colorful, and it is the great object for making photographies, and people are happy to see all around.
Everything around it, yeah.
Everything around it.
We will get back to Route 66, but let me just ask you, where did you go from to in Alaska? Where did you travel from, and where did you ride?
I went from Juneau. It is capital of Alaska, and across Canadian part, Yukon Territory, to through Fairbanks to Dead Horse, to the ocean.
Ocean,
Yeah.
all the way to the ocean.
Yeah.
How many kilometers?
Oh, it is not so long. Maybe something about 2,000 kilometers. Not so, and it was in the summertime. So the weather is very good in Alaska. Around 23 degrees centigrade Celsius.
So it's even easier than the southern part of Route 66, I would think, in the summer, because it can get very
no
hot.
night, no dark.
There is no darkness.
But a lot of mosquitoes.
I was just going to ask you, mosquitoes, no? I mean, in Alaska, that must be a problem.
Repellent.
You have to use
special repellent.
And probably have clothes with not sleeveless T-shirts or something like that. Yeah. When did you do that? When was that?
It was Alaska. It was in 2001, I think. 2001, and New Zealand. It was in 1999.
And do you bring your own bike from Czechia?
Yeah. I put it into the special bag. And after arrival to the final destination, mostly I visited some bicycle shop to put it
together, because they've got the right tools, I think, and everything. Yeah. Do you meet other people? I mean, when you travel like this, I mean, other people on bicycles?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I met somebody, but. I don't prefer to go together with anybody, because I have my own speed, and it's better to say hello and change some information. And I am a fan of solo trips.
You once mentioned in some of the articles or interviews that I read that outside of the big cities you feel completely safe in the US, right? You can leave your bike unlocked, etc. Do you think this kind of sense of openness, of safety, is still very much in America present?
I think yes. In countryside, in outside of big cities, in Texas, in Oklahoma, I think there is no problem with this. But bicyclists. Had no other chance, because when you traveling alone, you have sometimes to have a lunch or something, and you cannot go inside with the bicycle. So you have to leave it, and I think it's still safe. I don't think in suburbs, for example, of Chicago or Los Angeles, but outside the cities, yes.
I have to say that for me, what was kind of eye-opening on my trip on a bike was how diverse, if I put it kind of positively, America is. And you are in Philadelphia, you can be at the Hall of Independence, very touristy part, very leafy, beautiful. And then you ride a bike and you get to South Philadelphia, which is called South Philly. And you just feel you don't belong there, on a bicycle. Did you get the feeling like that as well? I mean, about this diversity, if you go on Route 66?
I think I went through all cities, all big cities. For example, in Chicago, there are some suburbs. When my US friends recommended me, don't go there by bicycle. It's it is not safe. But I think when you are on a bicycle, people also in this in not safe parts of the cities are looking to you very friendly.
Very friendly.
Yeah.
You are kind of exotic, if anything.
Exactly. That's fine.
So you founded the Czech Route 66 Association, and I was just wondering, was the initial goal, so to say, to bring together enthusiasts? Was it to promote tourism? Was it simply to share your personal passion, or was it business as well?
No business,
Nothing.
Nothing like this. I never had any plan to use my Route 66 experience. No group or no association, no organized travel. I have never thought about it, but after returning home, I published several articles about the trip in magazines and newspapers, and I wrote a small book about it. For example, it was the first book about Route 66 in Czech language, and but after some time, people who were also interested in America and Route 66 started contacting me and wanting to share their interest with other people, get information, meet up and travel Route 66 together. And they asked me to put together some organization, to put together some Czech information websites, to organize some trip together, because they have no courage to make it alone. So
They haven't got the courage, to do it. Yeah.
Courage. So it started like this, and
Gradually it grew, yeah?
Yes. But with the first meeting of Czech Route 66 Association, we organized in 2008 in some American-style pub in Pardubice, and yes, I send an information on internet. There will be a first meeting on Czech Route 66 Association, and I was very surprised. There were 130 people. So, and I said, yeah, let's go to think about some organized trip. And maybe 15, 16 people was interested, and we organized in the spring of 2008, the first trip, and it was quite successful. And after that, because I published it on our web pages, other people asked me for doing the same. And in the fall 2008, we organized second trip and then third trip, and
that's how it became normal. But you organized trips elsewhere as well, right? I mean, for example, in Dakotas, I think you mentioned.
But only it's like
a kind of one special, special edition or something.
There is a lot of people who traveled with us more time, maybe 2, 4. There are some people who were with us, who have been with us maybe 5 times on Route 66, and they say, yes, we would like to join some other trip, but
not the same one. Let's
not
go
the same
elsewhere.
one. So we organized, for example, Colorado, Utah trip, and this year South Dakota, Wyoming, and Nebraska trip, and it is just a special thing. We organized also Lincoln Highway trip. Because it is.
That was the first kind of
all American across American road. Yes,
across the continent, the old Lincoln Highway.
Because it started 13 years before Route 66. So we had on Lincoln Highway twice or 3 times.
Or just some sections? I mean, do you go just section? The whole thing?
San Francisco to New York.
To New York, it goes from New York
to Times Square.
I tend to say from New York to San Francisco because that's there's the Interstate 80 that connects actually New York and San Francisco.
Yes.
Does it at least partially copy the route of Lincoln Highway?
Yes, and some parts, especially in Wyoming, you must go on interstate.
As well, yeah. You, as I learned, were even recognized on the official Route 66 Walk of Fame. What does that exactly mean? How does that happen?
I don't know. It is in Kingman, Arizona. It's the typical city on Route 66, and activists or people from there, from Kingman, decided to make their own
Walk of Fame, like they have in Los Angeles, in Hollywood.
For people who promoted Route 66 abroad, in Europe and in other parts of the world. So they made one part for me.
I have to admit something, and feel free to disagree with me, because I visited Route 66 in various places when I was traveling around America as a radio correspondent. And the feeling I got in some places was exactly that some of the local associations of Route 66 use it really commercially, which is understandable, of course. But I was lacking the kind of authenticity, if you understand what I mean. It seemed to me to be, in some places, rather kind of touristy idea. Is there at least a little bit, of something that you would agree with? That maybe it's over-commercialized?
Well, there are some places, just only some places, which are over-commercialized. One of them is Seligman, Arizona. Is a village or small city, but there are two reasons for that. First time, Mr. Angel Delgadillo lives in Arizona. It was a former barber from Seligman. He's still alive. He's 98 years old, and it was the first man who put together Route 66 Association in Arizona. And it is just like a father of a new era of Route 66, because Arizonian Route 66 Association was the first in the United States at the end of 80s.
Right, just right after the route was officially kind of crossed out of the system.
Yes.
And they wanted to
now
keep it.
It is a big celebrity of Route 66. And in Seligman there is his original barber shop, remodeled to big souvenir shop. Yeah. And that's why it is very popular place for all people who travel Route 66. Everybody want to stop there, meet a real Angel Delgadillo, yes, and to buy some souvenir from there. It is one reason. And Seligman also is a very good place for bus stop of every touristic bus coming from Los Angeles, for example, to Grand
Canyon. Yeah.
And tourist agencies have a reason to stop there and tell the tourists from France or everywhere to say, now we stop on real Route 66. And maybe you will meet Angel Delgadillo, father of new Route 66. So every day, around 11 a.m., a lot of buses are coming to Seligman, stop by the Angel Delgadillo's barbershop, buy T-shirts. Tourists are buying T-shirts and license plates and everything. And after half an hour, they leave. So yes, this is one place on Route 66 which is over tourist.
You've been listening to the weekend edition of Czechia in 30 minutes from Radio Prague International. Our guest was Zdeněk Jurásek, president of the Czech Route 66 Association. I'm Vít Pohanka, thanks for listening, and as we say in Czech, naslyšenou.